In this short video, I want to show the head compression method that increases the lymphatic drainage of the brain. So the brain has its own lymphatic system that's mostly active at night. And so rather than me as a physician doing that in my practice during the day, this is something I have to teach parents of children that need help or caretakers that take care of an adult that do this as late at night as possible. So to increase lymphatic drainage, one hand is placed behind the occiput, the other hand on the forehead, and then I am rhythmically compressing the skull using my entire body weight and some extra pressure between my hands. And it's a gentle forth and back movement, but resulting in the full pressure that's maintained for a second or so and then slowly let go of. By doing that, we're tightening and relaxing the membranes around the brain and getting a hugely increased lymph flow out of the brain with all the metabolic waste in it and some toxins and some infectious material. Ideally, this should be done like for 2 or 3 minutes at night, but it always should be paired with opening the lymph drainage that goes down the neck. So the fluids come down both in the veins and in the paravenous lymphatic system. And for that we use a cream. This is called circulation cream. And we place a pea-sized bit on each side of the neck. And then first we work the cream into the tissues.
Sorry guys.
And then the actual treatment is the milking of the lymph glands that are under the mandible here and the lymphatic system that's close to the breathing pipe. And so this is how it looks. It's a deep milking movement that's unpleasant at first, especially when the patient doesn't quite trust you. And you feel the, flex your neck a little bit. So to relax the tissues, the patient has to flex the neck slightly. And then you can really get into the lymphatics that are accompanying the jawbone on the inside. And first you're milking it against the lymph flow, and then in the direction of the lymph flow. And then you do the same in the deep neck tissues, that you first go against the lymph flow and then down, deep down strokes where I'm pushing the tissues against the vertebrae and milking the lymphatics downstream. With this stroke we're also opening the veins back up that are often plugged up. And then we do the same on the other side. This will often make the patient cough because the phrenic nerve runs deep there. And so this whole procedure, the cranial compression, and this should take about 3 minutes. It's phenomenally helpful in autistic children. We've had several cases of reversal of Parkinson's disease with it. We have improvement in MS and virtually all the neurological diseases, but the main application is any type of brain fog, memory problems, anything that indicates that the brain is struggling. With the cranial compressions and increasing the lymph and venous drainage, you're getting great improvements in most people. But it has to be done regularly, has to be done at least once a day, twice a day is better. The whole procedure to time yourself for about 3 minutes. And then what happens is a lot of toxic material is flushed into the bloodstream and ends up in the liver. And then we have the pendant to the whole thing is to increase the bile drainage in the liver. So the liver is here under the rib cage, hidden under the ribs. And so it's about a little less than a hand's width up from the lowest rib. Hiding behind there is the liver. The liver crosses midline to a little bit and fills up the entire space between the back, the ribs and the front ribs. And so when I squeeze on this tissue, I'm actually squeezing the organ liver together. I'm narrowing the width of the liver by about 20%. And inside the liver are about 2 miles of bile ducts. Many of them are sludged up, are full of thickened fluid that cannot move anymore on its own. And it reduces the ability of the liver to cleanse the blood. And so the one hand goes behind the liver, one in front of the liver, and the pressure goes diagonal across towards the belly button, but also 45 degrees down. And it looks like this. You notice that there is no sudden movements with this. It's a very harmonious, it's not gentle. The pressure is a full pressure, but there is no sudden abrupt movement, and I distribute the pressure under the entire palm of my hand. In older people you have to be careful because you can break ribs, and so I wouldn't start in an older person with this. This is a treatment almost everybody alive today needs. Because the liver is the most overworked organ with the toxic environment that we're living in. And so again, ideally this should be done 3 minutes or so every day, but realistically as often as possible. Yeah? Once a day is enough. Again, the prime time of the bile activity in the system is at night between 11 and 1 o'clock. And so it's ideal to do this entire procedure at the same time, to do the cranial compressions because the lymph drainage of the brain is at night, to open the lymphatics in the neck immediately afterwards, and then to do the liver compressions to help the flow of toxic material through the liver. Maybe the last thing I should say, and ideally is 2 hours before this whole procedure, so maybe with dinner, to take a lot of chlorella or zeolite as a binder, because when we do the liver compressions, we're creating a lot of outflow from the liver into the small intestine, and the toxins that come out, many of them are neurophilic, that means on the way down they get taken up by the nerve endings in the gut, and to prevent that we want the gut lined with a binder that captures the toxins and doesn't allow them to be reabsorbed. That's really all I wanted to show. Thank you.